Mike Tyson was a scary man and incredible to watch in his prime. Before he was tearing through the professional ranks, he did fight as an amateur. He competed in the 1981 and 1982 Junior Olympics, winning gold both times, and in 1984 won the gold at the National Golden Gloves. He got his start fighting young and was teased about his lisp. He was arrested 38 times by the age of 13, and while in custody, a juvenile detention center counselor and former boxer saw his talent and started to train him before introducing him to Cus D'Amato. At the age of 18, Tyson made his debut in Albany, New York, and won in style with a first-round TKO of Hector Mercedes. In the first year, he would fight 15 times professionally, and of his first 28 fights, he won 26 of them by knockout. Unfortunately, during this first year, his longtime trainer, legal guardian, and friend, Cus D'Amato, would pass away. Some would later blame this incident happening at such a young age as a catalyst for troubles that would come down the line. As he continued to win and his competition got better, he was starting to gain national attention for his quick and brutal wins as well as his impressive win streak. This led to media speculation of him being hailed as the next great heavyweight champion. In his second year, he faced world title challenger Marvelous Marvin Frazier, and Tyson came out swinging, hitting Frazier with an uppercut in the first 30 seconds so hard that it knocked his opponent unconscious. In November of 1986, Tyson had his first title shot against Trevor Berbick for the WBC heavyweight belt. In just the second round, he won the fight by TKO and became the youngest heavyweight champion at the age of 20 years and 4 months. The following year, in 1987, he would add the WBA and IBF heavyweight belts, unifying them all and becoming the undisputed heavyweight champion. During his rise to stardom, at this time Nintendo came to him, and being impressed by his power and skill, they later released Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, which would go on to frustrate millions, myself included, for years to come in some cases. The game would sell over 1 million copies and is considered by many to be a Nintendo classic. While Tyson was crushing his opponents in the ring, outside his life was in turmoil. His marriage to Robin Givens was headed to divorce, and there was a fight over his contract between Bill Clayton and Don King after Tyson had parted ways with Clayton and fired longtime trainer Kevin Rooney. Although his fight with Frank Bruno was not one of his best, he still won in the 5th, knocking him out. Then, in February 1990, the unthinkable happened. Tyson lost. More importantly, he lost to a far inferior fighter named Buster Douglas. There were reports of a less than maximum effort in training for the fight, partly blamed on his personal life issues and perhaps overconfidence. Tyson went into the fight a 42-1 favorite, but in the 10th round, Douglas hit Tyson with an uppercut and punch combination that knocked him down for the first time in his career, subsequently being counted out by the referee, losing his undisputed title. Coming back with a seemingly renewed focus, he took on Donovan Razor Ruddock. After a controversial win, they met a second time, and Tyson won that fight by decision after 12 rounds. A fight with Evander Holyfield was supposed to take place later that year, but Tyson pulled out due to injury. He was arrested in 1991 under rape charges and served less than 3 years of his 6-year sentence. His impending release led to speculation about a comeback that took place against Peter McNeely and lasted all of 89 seconds. This fight was purchased on pay-per-view by over 1.5 million households, setting both revenue and viewership records. After next defeating Buster Mathis Jr., Tyson would go on to face Frank Bruno and regained the WBC title with a 3rd-round knockout. Lennox Lewis turned down a reported $13.5 million fight purse, and instead Tyson faced Bruce Seldon with the intention that if he won, Lewis would be next. Unsurprisingly, he added the WBA belt with a win over Seldon in the 1st round. In 1996, Tyson would face Evander Holyfield for the first time, and though he was again favored in the fight, ended up on the wrong end of things and lost the fight. There were complaints from Tyson's camp throughout the match of Holyfield headbutting and would be an issue in the rematch. Perhaps the most publicized fight of his career was the rematch against Holyfield. As you may know, the fight was the first in 50 years to end in disqualification after Tyson famously bit both of Holyfield's ears, with one being so vicious he removed a part of the ear itself. This action would leave the Nevada revoking his boxing license, although it was later reinstated. Attempting another comeback, Tyson would have mixed results but would ultimately get to finally fight Lennox Lewis in Memphis, Tennessee. Lewis, who held the IBF, WBO, IBO, and lineal titles, easily won the fight, knocking Tyson out in the 8th round. After years of struggles financially, Tyson filed for bankruptcy, reportedly having over $23 million in debt despite having earned over $300 million during his professional career. After retiring from boxing, Tyson formed the Mike Tyson Legends Only League, providing retired athletes a chance to compete in their respective sport. The first event was an exhibition fight against Roy Jones Jr. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2011 and is ranked on every list of the greatest heavyweight fighters of all time. Tyson has continued to have run-ins with the law, mostly for possession of drugs or DUI, but despite this, he's continued to stay in the spotlight. He famously played a version of himself in the movie The Hangover, and he had a successful one-man show that went on a 36-city national tour that was a collaboration with Spike Lee. He wrote a New York Times bestseller titled The Undisputed Truth and has published a second called Iron Ambition about his time with Cus D'Amato. He has been immortalized in movies, games, television, and in videos like this online. He has released a set of NFTs and has a successful podcast called Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. He is a true story of success despite circumstances, with sheer will of personality.